When the roar of fear tries to silence your faith, remember, courage begins with what God has already done. We all know the story of David and Goliath. The world knows it too. It is the story of the small shepherd boy who stands before a giant and wins. It has become a symbol of courage, of the underdog who refuses to back down. But when God is part of the story, the underdog is not who he seems to be. How do you face your giants? With fear or with faith? Sometimes those giants look like sin that will not loosen its grip. Sometimes it is a health battle that shakes your confidence. Maybe it is the loss of a job, the uncertainty of the future, or a child walking a path that breaks your heart. Every believer meets giants along the way. They come in different forms, and what feels like a mountain to one person might be a hill to another. Yet to us, our giants are real. They loom large. They whisper words meant to drain our courage. But in David's story, there is a detail we often overlook, one that quietly reveals how we too can face what stands against us. When Saul told David he was too young, too small, and too inexperienced to fight Goliath, David's reply was simple but full of faith. Your servant used to keep sheep for his father, and when there came a lion or a bear and took a lamb from the flock, I went after him and struck him and delivered it out of his mouth. And if he arose against me, I caught him by his beard and struck him and killed him. Your servant has struck down both lions and bears, and this uncircumcised Philistine shall be like one of them, for he has defied the armies of the living God. And David said, The Lord who delivered me from the paw of the lion and from the paw of the bear will deliver me from the hand of this Philistine. 1 Samuel 17:34-37. David was not reckless. He was not naive. His courage was not built on pride, but on memory. He remembered what God had already done. Can you picture that moment? A quiet hillside, the sound of sheep scattered across the field. Then the air changes. A deep, rumbling growl rises from the shadows. If you have ever visited a zoo and heard a lion roar, you know how that sound can shake you. Even with thick glass between you, that roar cuts through you and vibrates in your chest. Now imagine that same sound with no barrier, echoing across an open field. The roar rolls through the valley. The ground seems to tremble. Dust rises as the lion charges, its muscles rippling, its eyes fixed on the shepherd boy who dares to stand in its way. David runs toward it, turns, its roar tears through the air again. Its teeth flash in the sunlight, sharp and glistening. You can almost feel the heat of its breath. Yet David does not retreat. He reaches out, grabs the thick mane, and grips the lion by the beard. In that terrifying moment when death stares him in the face, God gives him strength. David strikes. The roar fades. The shepherd stands, breathless and shaking, but alive. That is what David remembered when he faced Goliath. He was not wondering what God might do. He already knew what God could do. The same God who delivered him from the paw of the lion would deliver him again. We know how the story ends. The stone flies, the giant falls, and a nation watches a miracle unfold. But long before David stood in that valley, his faith had already been shaped in smaller, quieter battles with the lion, with the bear, and with fear itself. That is where God shapes our courage too. Think about your own journey. What lions and bears has God already helped you overcome? What moments of deliverance has He written into your story that you might have forgotten? Before you run from the giants that stand in front of you, pause and remember. The same God who was faithful then is faithful now. Each time He carried you through, He was preparing you for what would come next. Every victory, no matter how small, becomes a stone in your sling, a reminder that the battle belongs to the Lord. Are you facing your Goliath today? Remember your lions. Remember your bears. Let those memories stir your faith again. God has not changed. The one who walked with David walks with you. What victory has God given you that now strengthens your faith? Share your story in the comments. Your testimony may be the encouragement someone else needs today.